Welcome to our instructional video on how to use our Flagstaff 21DS. Now this video is primarily for those of you who are thinking about renting out our camper or have booked it for an upcoming trip. We're gonna start out by walking around the outside, showing you all the gear it comes with and how to use that gear while you're on your trip. Let's start out up front here. Okay, so when it comes to hitching up, we provide the hitch and the weight distribution system for the rig. All we need from you is to measure the receiver, get your vehicle on level ground and measure the receiver from the top of the receiver to the ground, and then we will adjust our hitch and ball accordingly. We'll walk you through how it works when you get here, but in advance, I do have a video on how to set this up, and you can link to that in the description of this video, or you can go to our website and that video will be there as well. The RV does come with 2 propane tanks, and they have an auto switchover regulator. So basically both tanks will be on. When one tank is empty, it'll automatically switch over. Bottom line is you shouldn't have to worry about the propane tanks at all. We'll take care of that for you. It does have a power tongue jack with a built-in light also. All right, if we move over to the front here, let's go over all the gear that comes with the rental. And all this gear is going to be in random storage compartments that we'll show you during the walkthrough. And each storage compartment is labeled as to what gear is in it also. So the rental will come with 2 chairs. Obviously you have your outdoor rug here. We do provide a little tool kit with some basic tools. One thing I do want to point out that it comes with, this is a drill adapter. Bring a power drill with you. You use this to put up and down the stabilizer jacks. That'll save you a lot of time versus using the handheld crank that comes with it. And along with those, in this compartment here, I have these wooden blocks. These are pretty handy to put underneath the stabilizer jacks, because pretty much as these stabilizer jacks go down, they start to narrow. The wider you can keep these, the more stable your camper is going to be. So this just kind of helps with that, and every once in a while you get a real low spot on the campsite, and these can be handy for that. Along with that, these are stabilizer jack pads. You can also use these under the stabilizer jacks, but they're also handy if you need some more height underneath your tongue jack, or sometimes you might need them under one section of the steps there. In the storage compartment, I have these storage bags here that are labeled. So fresh water equals blue hose. We have 2 25-foot flexible hoses. They come with a water pressure regulator. You have to use this because you can end up at a campsite that has extremely high water pressure, and that can do damage to the internal plumbing. So make sure you use this. So one thing to note with this, use this at the spigot. This should go at the spigot, not at the inlet to the RV. All right. Obviously we have our rubber wheel chocks. You're always going to want to put the wheel chocks in as soon as you get to your site and start the leveling process. This here is a 110 adapter. So this would go on the outside power source to the camper, and then you could plug it into a standard household outlet. Let's say you're using this at your driveway or at a cabin or something. Keep in mind that if you're using household power, it'll run everything in the camper, but not the air conditioning. You need a 220 source to run an air conditioner, or 30 amp at a campsite. All right, the main power cord for the camper, like I said, this is 30 amp, is in this bag here, but I also have an extension if you're at a goofy site and your power source is too far away. Outdoor garbage can here, and then I have 2 sewer hoses. This one is going to be kept in the bumper. I'll show you that in a second. And then that's a 15-foot section. This is a 10-foot extension in case your sewer port is too far away. The extension is going to be in the black water case here, along with this adapter. Basically, this connects onto here, and then that would go in the ground, your sewer port, and then that attaches to the camper. I'll bring that around to the sewer port on the camper and show you that in a second. Also in this black bag, you'll find the black tank rinse hose. Just remember, black hose, black water, all in one area. Let's talk about the levelers here. If you get to a campsite and it's very unlevel side to side, you're gonna wanna level the camper using these. So basically how these work, they come in this little carrying case here. You got two of these curved ramps. You put those behind the tires like this. And then what my wife and I like to do, we'll be on our cell phones. She'll hold the level like this and then just have me back up until the camper's level. The camper will rock and get cradled into these levelers, and then you just put the red chalk in like that and you're good to go.
Okay.
Do you have the blue ball? Oh, we'll just go up first.
Okay, stop. Oh, go up a little bit more. Okay, that's good.
Okay, we're at the back driver's side area of the RV here, and here's a couple connections that you need to know about. Number one is the city water connection. This is for if you have a campsite that has water. You just run the hose from the spigot into here, and then you would be using it just like you would in a house. The pressure from the spigot allows everything to work. You don't need to use the water pump if your site has water. Now, while we're talking about water, let's walk up to the front here. Let's say you are at a campground that does not have a water source, or you're boondocking. You can fill up the potable tank here, and basically this holds 52 gallons of water. And when you use this, you do have to go inside and turn the water pump on. So potable, use the water pump. City water, there's nothing else to worry about. Let's go back and talk about the sewer connections here. So you can see here, gray holding tank, sewer outlet connection. Both the gray water and the black water. Gray water is sink and shower, black is toilet. They both come out the same outlet, all right? So to dump the tanks, basically you're always gonna wanna keep both closed. And you can see here, there's a handle here that you pull out for the black on this side, and then there's a handle that you pull out on the gray on that side. Even if you have full hookups where you have a sewer outlet at your campsite, you still want to keep both closed. It's just going to drain better the more full the tanks are. Okay, dumping the black tank here. So the hose is here, and keep in mind this is just for demonstration. Normally I use gloves, and there will be gloves provided for you if you need them. So you have the cap here, take the cap off, and you can see it's pretty easy. You just line it up, twist it on, and then we have our little connector here. Okay, once your hose is connected, first thing you're gonna do is the black tank. So pull that black tank valve and just let it run. It might take 10 minutes depending on how full the tank is. It doesn't flush out as fast as you think it does. Once it's been going for a few minutes though, take your black hose here and you're gonna hook this up to the black tank flush. Basically, there's a bunch of jets inside the black tank, and you're gonna connect this to the water source at the dump station. And this is gonna force water through those jets. And as it's draining, it's gonna help clear that tank out. Once it starts to come clear through the pipe here, I'll go ahead and close this black tank valve with this connected and let it run for just a few minutes to kind of let that water build up a little bit. And then I'll open it again and let that water flow out. And then as that's starting to empty the black, then I'll pull the gray with the black still open, and then that gray water will help flush everything out. And then go ahead and shut the water off for your black tank rinse and just give it a few minutes until it starts to come down to a trickle. This whole process, if done right, it can be a 15-minute job, give or take. And while we're back here, this is where you plug the power cord into. And then as we move to the front, a couple things to mention about the back here. Even though this has a ladder, there should be no reason to ever go on the roof, so please stay off the ladder. It does have a full-size spare, but your rental will have roadside assistance, so there should be no need for you to ever have to worry about changing a tire. All right, moving to the front here. I want to talk about the awning here. Now, the awning, I always say it's the most likely thing to get damaged during a rental and one of the most expensive things to fix. So be very careful when you're using an awning. You can use it as part of your rental, but just keep in mind you should never leave it out overnight or when you leave your campsite for an extended period of time. You never know when that wind's going to pick up out of nowhere, and wind can do a lot of damage on an awning. So just be extremely careful with the awning. It is not covered by insurance. It would have to come right out of a security deposit. Okay, before we move inside, I want to show you these steps here. These steps fold into the camper. When you lift these up, make sure the door is all the way open. Otherwise, the steps can come in contact and scratch the door. So basically, the steps just fold up like this. And that's how they store when you're traveling. Now, the steps do have adjustable legs. So if your campsite has a weird angle to it, you can adjust them. You just pop out these pins right here, and then the legs can go up and down depending on the height of your site. Okay, right when you get into the camper, right off to your left in this top drawer here is a binder that has the owner's manual for the camper, and pretty much every appliance in the camper has its own manual or brochure. That's all in here. This is where the remotes are as well. Down here is the breaker box. So if you have if anything's not working, check the breaker box first. It's all labeled there. Here is the audio and DVD player. So you can play DVDs through the TV up here utilizing this. It also has radio with interior speakers, number 1, or exterior speakers, number 2. And you can also sync your phone using Bluetooth with this as well. All right, here's the main control panel. So down here is your lights for interior, porch, awning. Up here, there's a little button. It's kind of hard to see, but if you press this, you'll have indicator lights here for battery, and then fresh water, black tank, and gray tank. And you can see it goes from empty to full. Keep in mind, when you pick it up, we always put a little bit of water and some chemical in the black tank, so it'll probably never show empty. And in fact, RV sensors are notoriously inaccurate. It's actually pretty rare to see them all empty. All right, then moving on to here, here's the water pump button or switch. Like I said, if you have city water at your site, you do not need to use this. This is only if you're using the potable water system. And I don't know if you can hear that. It kicked in. It will always kick on as soon as you're using an appliance, but it's not meant to run continuously. If the water pump doesn't turn off within, let's say, a minute, you probably have a problem somewhere. Maybe the outdoor shower got left on, there's a leak or something, but the water pump is not meant to run all the time, only when needed. And then here for the hot water, you actually have 2 options. You can run it off gas, if you're boondocking and your site does not have electric, or you can use electric. All right, and then here are the controls for the slide out and for the awning. I'm going to bring the slide out in just a little bit to show you what that looks and sounds like. This is a rack and pinion system, so you can bring this in and stop if you need. And then when you put it all the way out, it's going to make some noises. And as soon as you start to hear the gears engaging, obviously let off the switch and you're good to go. All right, moving along to the kitchen here. The kitchen pretty much works just like a residential kitchen. These sink covers here, we ask that you don't use this as a cutting board. We do have one provided. I'll show you that in a minute. Over here in these drawers, we do provide garbage bags, cleaning supplies, knives, utensils, that sort of thing. It does have a stovetop. This is very, very important. If you're going to use the burners, you have to lift up this glass cover. This is not a glass top, stovetop type deal. It pretty much works like a residential stove here. So for the cooktop here, you switch it over to light, and then you have your igniter here. Just lights right up. Now for the oven here, it's kind of hard to see, but on the dial here it says pilot. You switch over to pilot. And it's pretty tricky to start. You have to hold that in Sometimes you got to hold it in for a good, 7-10 seconds, and then you hit the ignite button here. And the pilot's really hard to see. It's underneath, and it's finicky. It does work. It just takes a while to go.
There's no flame there.
And then obviously, you got your light, your fan, and a standard microwave. TV is on a tilt, and it does have a sound bar. That's pretty nice. And then this is the thermostat here. Pretty simple, analog here. And then you got your heat, air conditioning. Pretty self-explanatory. Bathroom. Couple things to note about the bathroom. When you're traveling, make sure the shower doors are connected with the safety latch here. And this camper here has a system where you can actually turn on the water, and with this closed, this will actually cycle the water through until it's warm, and then you flip this up, and then you have instant hot water coming out, so you're not wasting water while you're waiting for the water to get warm. As far as the RV toilet goes, these work a little bit different than a household toilet. It's operated by a foot flush. So the first thing you're going to do is you push this halfway down, and that's going to introduce water into the bowl of the toilet. Once the water's in there, you do your business, and then to flush, you push it all the way down. Now, keep in mind the black tank holds 30 gallons, which is a fair amount. It's better to use more water than less water in the toilet. The more water that's in the system, the better things are going to break down, less smell, and it's going to be a lot easier to dump. So be generous when using the water. And then obviously we'll provide 2 or 3 rolls of toilet paper. We use standard toilet paper. We just ask not to use too much so you're not creating clogs in the toilet. And then also with the toilet paper only, no products, no wipes especially, no diapers, anything crazy like that. This here, this GFI outlet, if you get some appliances that aren't working, probably the first thing to check is to make sure this hasn't been tripped. That's where the reset is for that. Then this does have a pretty powerful fan. Right here, you just got to open the vent, and then the controls are right here. And it does have a cover on top, so you can actually have this open while it's raining. That's how that works. Okay, so the fridge is here, and this is a gas or electric operated fridge. So it can run off propane or electricity if your campsite has an electric connection. But we usually just keep it on auto. That way it'll automatically switch over from propane to electricity depending on what you're plugged into. You don't need to do anything, it'll just do everything automatically. If you ever start hearing beeping coming from the fridge, that just means it lost propane connection momentarily. You just got to come in and turn it off, give it a couple seconds, and turn it back on again. That's what that beep will sound like. All right, over here, this is where we provide, some paper plates, bowls, napkins, forks, all that. We do have a coffee maker, and then cutting board and some miscellaneous pots and pans. All right, the dinette here. So this can fold down into a bed, and this is how this table folds down. This little yellow tab here, you push this off to the side, and the whole table is going to go forward and down. It's a loose standing table, so brace it with your foot here, and then push it as you grab the top lip here, and then pull forward and down. And then it'll go into a position to make this into a bed. And then you just arrange the cushions into the bed like that. In this closet here, some more cleaning supplies. You got your broom and Swiffer and that sort of thing. All right, let's talk about the Murphy bed. 2 important things before you leave your campsite. Number 1, I forgot to mention this countertop extension. This has to be down. So garbage can just goes right here. Lift up, push these hinges in, make sure that's in. So before that slide comes in, this countertop extension has to be in, and this Murphy bed has to be up. If you try to shut the slide with the Murphy bed down, it's going to do some damage. Okay, this is how the Murphy bed works. First thing you're going to do is fold the couch down. You just pull the strap up and forward, and the couch is going to fold flat. All right. So then you have these 2 pins here. I've already taken the one out on that side for the video here, but basically you pull those out, and then be careful when you're pulling this down. You don't want to put your fingers in here. So slowly come forward and down. This hinges out all the way to the floor like this. And there you go. Your bed is all set. These obviously are for storage. Just unbuckle those, put those off to the side. And then when you're putting the bed up, first thing you have to do, it has this safety catch here. So pull that, and then you're just going to kind of slowly lift up. Remember, this hinges down, up and forward. And then you put the safety latches back like that. And then couch just goes up and forward like that. So in the closet there are these little trays here. They just go in these little slots. Then you have a nice little TV tray. And then the recliners pop up with this lever right here. And the last thing to show you is that it does have a privacy curtain. Just has some Velcro here. Has its own rail system there. Privacy curtain. All right, that is how you use and operate our Flagstaff 21DS. Hopefully this video helped you out. And while you're out on your trip, if you have any questions at all, feel free to call us at any time. Otherwise, thanks for watching and happy camping.